Have you ever noticed the lines on the palm of your hand? They are there with you always, and they have a particular meaning. And if these lines, put together, form the letter M, the meaning is even more particular because it takes on a symbolic and spiritual implication. Maybe you've never noticed it because you don't believe in palmistry, yet having the M on the palm of your hand doesn't simply have to do with the theories of those who read palms. But what does it really mean to have the letter M on the palm of your hand? We will see it in this Zen story, rich as always in that Buddhist wisdom, capable of giving us emotional well-being and inner peace. So make yourself comfortable and stay until the end of the video because what you will hear will leave you speechless, especially if you are among the rare people who can say they have this letter on their hand. But before continuing, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. This way you will stay updated when we publish new content for your spiritual growth. In a quiet Buddhist temple hidden in a charming Japanese forest, the elderly and wise Buddhist monk Ninsi gathered his disciples in the courtyard. "My children," Ninsi began in a calm, penetrating voice, "have you ever felt as if the universe were whispering to you ancient secrets about your destiny? And have you ever had the impression that your destiny, or at least that we call that, holds something unique and mysterious in store for you?" The disciples, captured by his eloquence, nodded, thinking of the sensations they had been pervaded by over time. Imagine entering a place and feeling your own energy being absorbed, as if the environment were making demands on your life force, he continued. Have you ever felt that shiver down your spine, that subtle sensation that leads you to change course, cancel plans, or follow others? Just like when, at the last moment, something happens that takes you elsewhere from the path you had chosen. The disciples exchanged questioning glances, but Ninsi continued without giving them time to answer or ask questions. His intent was to make them think, but also not to distract them from his words. And then there is that strange and enigmatic symbol marked in your hands, the letter M. Those of you who own it know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the disciples raised his hand timidly. "Master, I have the letter M in the palm of my hand, and hearing about it for some time, I have always wondered with anxiety what it meant." Another disciple added, "I also have the M on the palm of my hand, and I was told that it would be a sign that we are destined to live less than others. But how are things really?" Ninsi smiled, a compassionate smile that seemed to light up the night itself. "Well, get ready to decipher the secrets that destiny has in store for you. Welcome to the mystery of the letter M." With seraphic grace, the monk told them the parable of a traveler whose deeds were guided by a star in the shape of an M that illuminated the sky. That star was a light that illuminated his path, and it was as if it also illuminated his very soul, leading him through the mystery that enveloped the world. "Imagine," said the old monk, "that you are like that traveler, with the letter M engraved in the palm of your hand. It is like having a secret map of the universe, an inner guide that pushes you towards your destination. But this map won't just take you to physical locations. It will lead you towards your true essence, towards your spiritual mission, towards gestures and events that will change your life." The disciples listened with extreme attention, eager to discover more about the meaning of that mysterious letter that fascinated and disturbed all those who carried it in the palm of their hand. Those who carry the letter M on the palm of their hand can manifest incredible inner strength, continued Ninsi. These individuals are often natural leaders, capable of inspiring and influencing those around them. Their energy is magnetic, and they attract others to them like the stars are attracted to the moon. Sometimes they are political leaders or business captains. Other times, simply good people who know how to illuminate the path of those around them. For example, particularly charismatic parents, teachers, doctors. And in the spiritual world, he added, the bearers of the letter M are true custodians of ancient secrets. They are in tune with the higher energies of the universe, capable of discerning hidden truths and guiding others towards the light. The disciples listened with growing amazement, feeling part of something bigger than themselves. Those who had the letter M printed on their hand began to feel good. The others began to feel respect for their companions. However, Ninsi warned, with the power of the letter M also comes great responsibility. You must use your gift with wisdom and compassion, or risk being overwhelmed by the dark forces that lurk in the shadows. As the fireplace crackled gently, Ninsi urged his disciples to cultivate their connection with the letter M, to explore its mysteries with humility and gratitude, and to feel privileged. And remember, the monk said in a solemn tone, that your letter M is unique, as is your path. There is no one else like you, and no one can carry out your spiritual mission except yourself. The disciples nodded, feeling a new determination burning in their hearts. With the guidance of the wise monk, they were ready to explore the mysteries of the letter M and discover their true purpose in the universe. And so, in the tranquil Buddhist temple, the light of knowledge burned brightly as the disciples embraced their destiny with hope and confidence, ready to embark on a journey of discovery and transformation under Ninsi's loving guidance. Majestically, Ninsi slowly stood up, his figure bathed in the divine light that seemed to emanate from his very essence. Now that you have understood the meaning of the letter M on the palm of your hand, he said in a grave but hopeful voice, it's time to explore its power and wisdom more deeply. The disciples approached him, eager to learn more. Look, Ninsi said, pointing to the twinkling stars in the night sky. As the stars move harmoniously in the vast universe, so you too, with your letter M, are called to move harmoniously. Every decision you make is a universal dance between your free will and divine design. Every decision you make has to do not just with your reality, but with that of those you love and the universe itself. A disciple raised his hand. Master, how can we be sure that we are following the right path? How can we make sure that this privilege is not in vain? Ninsi smiled, the wisdom in her eyes shining like an eternal flame. Listen to your heart, she said. Your letter M is like an inner compass, always ready to show you the way. But remember, the master continued, that your journey will not be without challenges and difficulties. Dark forces will try to divert you from your path, but with the light of your letter M as your guide, you will be able to overcome every obstacle and emerge stronger and wiser than before. Another disciple raised her hand. Master, what if we don't have the letter M in the palm of our hand? Ninsi paused for a moment, contemplating the question with deep thought. Even if you don't physically possess the letter M, you can still access its wisdom and power, he finally replied. True strength lies within you, regardless of external physical characteristics. Find your center, listen to your inner voice, and you will be guided towards your spiritual realization. The disciples looked at each other with a new sense of understanding and acceptance. The old monk's words were making them reflect, opening a world of emotions in their hearts and minds. Ninsi, looking at the starry sky and with a deep breath, added, whether you bear the letter M or not, he said solemnly, always remember that you are an integral part of the great mosaic of the universe. Each individual, with their own uniqueness and beauty, contributes to the fabric of life. May your journey be illuminated by the light of wisdom and love, and may you find your true essence and inner growth. With these words, Ninsi closed his eyes and the disciples looked at him in silence, feeling the depth of his message vibrate in the surrounding air. Time seemed to slow down, as if the universe itself had stopped to listen to the words of the wise monk. When Ninsi reopened her eyes, her gaze was serene and radiant with hope. And now, he said in a clear voice, let us move forward, each of us, on our journey of spiritual discovery and realization. May the light of our letter M, whether visible or not, always guide us toward our true essence and our highest destiny. And so, in the quiet temple, the fire of knowledge continued to burn brightly as the disciples set out towards their destiny with renewed vigor and awareness. Have you ever heard of the custom of putting coarse salt in the corners of the house? And do you know what exactly this ancient Buddhist practice passed down by monks and healers of enormous wisdom and experience is for? Thanks to the exciting Zen story you are about to hear, you will discover some of the greatest benefits of salt and the powerful symbolic and spiritual implications behind it. So, stay until the end and don't miss even a minute of this precious video, because the information you will receive will help you in your search for inner peace. In a quiet Buddhist monastery hidden in the Japanese mountains, the wise old monk Hiroshi told his devoted disciples stories of profound wisdom. Dear disciples, there is an ancient practice that may appear simple, but which has deep roots in Buddhist wisdom and important symbolic and spiritual implications. The monk continued, putting coarse salt in the corners of your house may seem like a trivial gesture, but you have to watch what happens when you do it. It's like sowing the seed of change and watching how it flourishes. A young monk raised an eyebrow skeptically. I used to doubt this practice, he admitted, but now I wonder what would happen if I did it. You should know that salt has been valued throughout the centuries, considered more than just a spice. It was traded like gold, and many believed it possessed magical properties. But why put salt in the corners of the house? Asked another young nun. Because salt isn't just about making food taste better, Hiroshi replied. It has a much deeper history. And so the monk embarked on a tale that unfolded through ancient cultures and civilizations, from the ancient Egypt of the pharaohs to Gandhi's India, from the regions of Normandy to Bavaria, from Judaism to Buddhism. He explained how salt had been considered a protective amulet, a symbol of unshakable life, a means of purification and harmonization. It is more than meets the eye, Hiroshi said. It is a bridge between us and the universe, a key to our connection with nature and with ourselves. His disciples absorbed the words of the wise monk, reflecting on the depth behind such a simple gesture as putting salt in the corners of one's home. And so they began to understand that even the smallest actions can lead to significant changes when intrinsically connected to wisdom and awareness. Every practice has a beginning, he began, and the practice of using salt as a tool of purification and transformation has its roots in the past, intertwined with the stories of monks, sages, and ordinary people. The disciples approached, eager to discover the secrets Hiroshi was about to reveal. In Buddhist tradition, he continued in a calm voice, salt is considered a protective amulet, capable of repelling negative energies and purifying the space it occupies. A young nun raised her hand, eager to know more, but how did this practice begin? She asked curiously. Hiroshi smiled, accepting the question. In times past, corners were believed to be places where stagnant energies could accumulate, creating an imbalance in the home environment. And by placing salt in these points, an energetic barrier was created that repelled negative influences. The disciples' eyes shone with interest as Hiroshi continued his narration. In Japan, for example, salt is used in Shinto purification rituals to eliminate spiritual impurities and protect against evil spirits. This practice has evolved over the centuries, but its profound meaning has remained intact and, even today, many elderly people cultivate it and pass it down with confidence to their heirs. As Hiroshi spoke, the disciples found themselves transported to a world of ancient beliefs, superstitions, and traditional wisdom, and they began to understand that the simple gesture of putting salt in the corners of the house was an act of protection and harmonization with the universe. But the power of this element is not limited only to protection, continued Hiroshi, his eyes bright with wisdom. Salt also has the ability to transform stagnant energies into positivity and create an environment that fosters personal growth and emotional well-being. The disciples listened carefully, fascinated by the words of the wise monk. For them, the concept of using salt as a tool for purification and transformation was becoming increasingly clear and meaningful. And now, said Hiroshi, as the fire crackled softly before them, I will show you a simple yet powerful method for using salt to purify and harmonize your home environment. With an air of expectation, the disciples gathered even closer, ready to learn the master's secrets, because they knew that even though salt might seem like a common thing, its power was profound and transformative. And Hiroshi was ready to lead them on a journey of discovery through the ancient practices involving this humble yet powerful element. First of all, continued the elderly monk, we must understand the role of salt in our daily lives and its connection to the energies that surround us. Salt has been precious throughout the ages, Hiroshi continued, not only for its culinary value, but also for its physical and symbolic properties. It was considered a divine gift, a symbol of purification and protection against dark forces. As he spoke, he showcased a variety of salts collected from around the world, from raw sea salt to pink Himalayan salt crystals. Each type of salt carries with it a unique vibration, he explained. And learning to use salt correctly means being aware of this diversity and how it can affect our environment and our inner energy. The disciples contemplated the various types of salt with curiosity, aware of their potential significance beyond the simple flavor they added to meals. But how can we fully harness the power of salt in our lives? Asked one of the monks, eager to apply what he was learning. You asked an important question, Hiroshi replied with a smile. The key is in intention and mindful practice. I will show you a method you can use to purify and protect your home environment. The moon is a powerful energy catalyst, Hiroshi explained, and when salt is exposed to its light, it becomes charged with purifying and harmonizing energy. The disciples watched in awe as the salt absorbed the silvery light of the moon, exuding an aura of tranquility and power. This salt, said Hiroshi, can be used to create a circle of protection around your home or to purify interior spaces. With an elegant gesture, he took a pinch of salt from the bowl and scattered it around the perimeter of the monastery courtyard, tracing an invisible circle of protection. This circle, he explained, will create an energetic barrier that will repel negative influences and promote peace and harmony within these boundaries. The disciples watched reverently as Hiroshi completed the circle of salt, feeling the presence of a protective energy surrounding the monastery. It was as if the place itself had been enveloped in a loving and powerful embrace. But the power of salt is not just limited to external protection, Hiroshi continued. It can also be used to purify and harmonize internal spaces, creating an environment that promotes spiritual growth and well-being. With this, he led the disciples inside the monastery, where he guided them through a series of practices involving salt to purify and harmonize the internal spaces. Each gesture was performed with awareness and intention as the disciples learned to connect with the power of salt and use it to transform the energies around them. Have you ever noticed how humidity can accumulate on the walls of your home, especially in certain areas? Hiroshi asked, scanning the expressions of all the people present. Everyone nodded in agreement, recalling times when they had observed this phenomenon in their homes. Placing salt in those spots can be extremely helpful, Hiroshi continued. Salt, in fact, has the ability to absorb humidity from the surrounding air, thus helping to prevent the formation of mold and safeguard our health. But that's not all, he said with a smile that suggested a new revelation. Salt can also be an ally in the fight against bad odors in domestic environments. Placing small bowls of salt in strategic locations around the home, such as the kitchen or bathroom, can help absorb and neutralize bad odors, Hiroshi explained. In this way, salt acts as a natural air purifier, keeping rooms fresh and pleasant. And these two important benefits of salt, my dears, although they are not directly linked to spirituality, actually have a strong connection with our spiritual path. Because, just as it absorbs humidity and bad smells, salt also absorbs energies, emotions, and evil presences. Therefore, it has a very powerful symbolic and spiritual role, and each of us should take this into account. Do you often wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning? And have you ever felt a feeling of uneasiness or curiosity when this happens? In this video, thanks to a Zen story, we will see what it means to wake up recurrently at these times. Together, we will explore the mysteries behind these moments and discover how they can offer an opportunity for personal and spiritual growth. So stay until the end, because you will discover that these nocturnal awakenings can reveal much more than you think. But before continuing, if you are not yet one of us, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to stay updated on new publications. In an ancient Buddhist monastery located among the mountains of Tibet lived the monk Kiro, famous for his vast wisdom. His lessons on awareness and compassion were renowned far and wide, and disciples came to him from afar to learn from his teachings. One evening, while twilight colored the sky with shades of red and gold, Kiro gathered his disciples in the main hall to answer a question they had asked him several times. Why do some people wake up most nights between 3 and 5 while others don't? Are these awakenings phenomena related to chance, or do they have a meaning? Dear disciples, Kiro began in a calm voice. Today, we will explore nocturnal awakenings and their connection to Eastern medicine and Buddhist wisdom. In Eastern medicine, Kiro continued, night awakenings are believed to be linked to body's energy meridians and their influences on us. Kiro proceeded to explain how each night waking time was associated with a particular organ or system of the body, and how Eastern medicine viewed these awakenings as signs of energetic or emotional imbalance that required attention and care. For example, Kiro said, waking up between 3 and 5 in the morning is associated with the lungs and emotions of sadness. This could indicate a need to address and heal deep emotional wounds, thus allowing our energy vital to flow freely. The disciples nodded, reflecting on their master's words and trying to apply them to their own experience. Master, one of them asked, how can we interpret night awakenings in the light of Buddhist wisdom? Kiro smiled, recognizing his student's deep curiosity. In Buddhism, he replied, every moment of the day is an opportunity to practice mindfulness and compassion. Nighttime awakenings offer us a unique window to explore our mental and emotional states without the distractions we have during the day. Kiro shared stories of ancient Buddhist masters who, through meditation and contemplation, had transformed their nocturnal awakenings into opportunities to deepen their understanding of the human mind and soul. The Buddha taught that waking up at night can be seen as an invitation to develop awareness and kindness towards ourselves and others, Kiro said. It is a time to embrace our experiences without judgment, thus allowing inner wisdom to emerge and move us forward along our path of spiritual rebirth. The disciples, listening with gratitude, felt inspired by the profound union between Eastern medicine and Buddhist wisdom that their master had outlined. Remember, Kiro added, that every waking night is an opportunity to grow, learn, and connect with the deepest part of ourselves. Be grateful for these moments of awareness, for they are precious gifts on the path to spiritual fulfillment. But now let's see in more detail which areas of life are affected by nocturnal awakenings, so that you can better analyze yourself and others. Stress and anxiety accumulated during the day can manifest themselves in waking up at night between 3 and 5 in the morning. This is because during these hours, the human body is naturally predisposed to release peaks of cortisol, the stress hormone. If these levels are already high due to daily worries, you are likely to experience nocturnal awakenings, and in these cases, practices like meditation, deep breathing, and muscle relaxation can help reduce stress and promote deeper sleep. My suggestion, therefore, is to get used to meditating for at least 10 minutes before going to bed. This way you will prepare yourself to sleep more peacefully. Awakenings at these particular hours of the night are associated with the lungs in Chinese medicine and with sadness according to Eastern psychology. This may indicate the presence of repressed or unprocessed emotions, such as grief, loss, or loneliness. Facing and accepting these emotions is fundamental to inner healing. Practicing mindfulness and exploring emotions through writing or therapy can help you understand and integrate these emotional experiences. If you have suffered negative experiences of this type, I recommend you work on yourself in order to process them and find inner peace and emotional balance. Looking into the eyes of his disciples, Hero continued his lesson. In the Eastern spiritual tradition, the early hours of the morning are considered a privileged time for connection with the divine and for spiritual practice. During this period of tranquility and silence, it is easier to get lost in meditation, prayer, or deep contemplation. Consider that many people wake up at these hours precisely because their deepest self needs to connect with the divine. And many practitioners, however, find that waking up specifically between 3 and 5 in the morning is an opportunity to experience greater spiritual presence and awareness, opening the door to new insights and spiritual realizations. These nocturnal awakenings, Hero continued, can also be interpreted as signs of a process of inner transformation and personal growth. During these hours, the subconscious may be more active, bringing hidden emotions, thoughts, and desires to the surface. This can be a time to deeply explore your psyche and to identify what changes or transformations are necessary to live a more authentic and meaningful life. Some nocturnal awakenings, however, can be caused by physical disorders such as acid reflux, insomnia or sleep apnea, liver problems. These disorders can interrupt sleep and cause frequent awakenings during these hours. Eastern medicine suggests various remedies for these conditions. However, if you think you may have such problems, consult a doctor to identify and treat the underlying cause of these physical ailments. Eradicating these problems at the root allows you to improve the quality of sleep and promote emotional and general well-being. As the disciples continued to listen to the monk's words with great attention, Hero introduced another important aspect. The period from 3 to 5 in the morning, he said, is considered a time when the unconscious can communicate important messages through dreams and awakenings. This theory is suggested by both the ancient Zen wisdom and the analytical psychology of Carl Gustav Jung. These messages can be symbolic or intuitive and can provide valuable insights into our inner lives, relationships, or challenges we are facing. Keeping a dream diary or practicing meditation before sleep can help capture and interpret these unconscious messages. If you write them down immediately, the next day you will have the opportunity to remember them and be able to use them in your growth process. Another reason why some of us wake up at those times, according to Eastern tradition, is linked to the natural rhythms of the universe. The early hours of the morning, in fact, are considered a time when vital energy is concentrated and flows more freely. Waking during this time may indicate an alignment with these natural cycles or a need to adapt to them to promote health and well-being. Practices such as yoga, Tai Chi, or meditation can help harmonize the body, mind, and spirit with the rhythms of nature. So, my dears, consider practicing them. A disciple asked, Master Hero, should we ultimately be worried if we often wake up at these times? My dears, said the monk, I would look at these awakenings as a precious opportunity to explore the depths of our mind, our spirit, and even our body. If an awakening suggests a physical problem to us, we will know we need to take care of it. If it suggests a spiritual meaning to us, we will know we have to work on it. Remember, through Eastern wisdom and heartfelt compassion, to learn to welcome these moments as precious gifts along the journey of life. Every nocturnal awakening is an invitation to greater awareness and understanding of ourselves and the world around us. So instead of resisting or ignoring these awakenings, we can welcome them with kindness and openness, allowing them to illuminate our path to spiritual fulfillment. The best thing you can do is create a space of quiet and reflection before going to bed, allowing your mind and body to completely relax. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, or reading inspirational texts can prepare you for a more restful, deep sleep. And when you wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning, take this phenomenon as an opportunity to explore your inner self and connect with your deepest essence. Have you ever heard of the ancient practice of washing your feet with vinegar? And have you ever heard of its enormous benefits on both a physical and mental level? And again, did you know that behind a simple daily act like this lies a profound spiritual meaning? The Zen story you will hear shortly will be a journey of discovery and reflection, where we will explore not only the physical benefits, but also the profound spiritual meanings of this ancient ritual. Get ready to immerse yourself in a story full of wisdom and stay until the end, because you will discover what also happens on a spiritual level if you take foot baths with hot water and vinegar. In a quiet monastery located among the green hills of Japan, the elderly Buddhist monk Kada sat among his disciples, surrounded by the silence and serenity that enveloped the sacred place. Golden sunset light filtered through the windows of the main hall, barely illuminating Kava's serene face as she prepared to share profound wisdom with her followers. The time had come to talk about the ancient practice of washing the feet with vinegar, a ritual that combined personal care with the deepest spiritual teachings. Kata began his story by introducing the ancient and mysterious origins of the ritual of washing the feet with vinegar. This practice, he said in a calm but firm voice, has been passed down through generations of Buddhist monks. It combines respect for the physical body with the search for spiritual purification, and today we will see how a simple daily gesture can help both the body and the spirit. While the disciples, remaining silent, prepared to listen to the wise words of the monk, Kata told stories handed down in the monastery of ancient masters who used vinegar as a tool for healing and purification, both for the body and for the spirit. The sacred writings speak of monks who, after long meditations in the woods, returned to the monastery to wash their tired feet with vinegar, thus renewing their commitment to the path of spiritual awakening, continued Kava. You must know, he added, that in ancient monastic communities there were real ritual ceremonies that accompanied the washing of the feet with vinegar. And this is the demonstration of the enormous respect and sacredness attributed to this gesture of purification that we try to pass on over the years. As the disciples' interest and curiosity grew more and more, Kata began to talk about the physical benefits of washing with vinegar. Vinegar is known for its antimicrobial and antifungal properties, Kata explained fervently. These help prevent and fight skin infections such as nail mycosis. This was very important in the past, when monks worked outdoors and could incur infections of various kinds. And it is very important in our times, in which many of you spend many hours with shoes on or frequent places, such as public swimming pools or gyms, where you come into contact with fungi of various types. With concrete examples, Kava illustrated how washing your feet with vinegar could improve skin health, reduce unpleasant odor, and even relieve muscle pain and fatigue. Immersing your feet in a solution of water and vinegar is like giving them a regenerating and invigorating treatment, he added with a pleased smile, underlining how ancient healers suggested this ritual to safeguard health. On a physical level, washing your feet with vinegar brings numerous benefits, especially for blood circulation and muscle relaxation. Imagine tired feet after a long day of work or walking. Immersion in a solution of water and vinegar not only soothes fatigue, but also promotes blood flow through the blood vessels of the feet. This improves tissue oxygenation, helping to reduce swelling and relieving any pain or discomfort. Furthermore, the heat of the water combined with the relaxing properties of the vinegar helps the muscles of the feet to relax, dissolving the tensions accumulated during the day. This muscle relaxation not only brings immediate relief, but can also promote better posture and greater balance in the long term, as the muscles in the feet are essential for supporting the full weight of the body throughout our days. Kata also explored the exfoliating effect of vinegar on the skin of the feet, removing dead cells and leaving them soft and smooth. This deep cleansing process contributed to the overall health of the feet. You will probably smile to hear a monk talk about the exfoliating power of this practice, said the elderly and wise monk, smiling amused. But the truth is that even these aspects, apparently frivolous, play a role in our physical and emotional well-being. Faced with this joke, they all let out a group laugh, appreciating the sympathy with which the master approached them in explaining the importance of this ancient practice. Kata looked at his disciples amused. Then, in a calm voice, he moved on to talk about the symbolic and more purely spiritual aspects of this ancient Buddhist ritual. In washing our feet with vinegar, we find a profound symbol of our inner search and aspiration for spiritual purity. He continued, "Imagine our tired and dusty feet after a long journey through life. Every step we take leaves an imprint, a sign of our experiences, our struggles, and our joys. Yet, despite the weight of the journey, we continue to advance with determination and hope. In this simple act of washing the dirt off our feet, we see reflected the desire to purify our mind and heart from the impurities of the world. You must think of vinegar as the transforming force that acts on us, as a regenerating liquid that flows over our feet, bringing with it a new vitality. Just as vinegar slowly dissolves accumulated dirt and sweeps away dead skin from our feet, so we seek to loosen the chains of selfishness, hatred, and fear that imprison us. Through this ritual, we come closer to the awareness of our limits and our fragilities, paving the way for a greater understanding of ourselves and others. The washing of feet with vinegar is not only a gesture of purification, but an act of humility and compassion. Every time we bend down to wash the feet of another, we recognize the sacredness of the service and the importance to take care of each other. This gesture reminds us that we are all part of a single human community, linked by invisible bonds of love and mutual respect. For this reason, the monks used to wash each other's feet. And it is the same reason why, in some forms of meditation, we suggest that people who come to visit us dedicate themselves to this practice on others. We can wash the feet of a child, a parent, a loved one. It will be a way to take care of ourselves and that person we care about, moving our hearts and minds towards inner peace and emotional balance. According to the ancient Buddhist monks, my dear disciples, washing the feet with vinegar is a path towards inner renewal, a journey that commits us to overcoming our fears and embracing our humanity with courage and kindness. Proceeding with his teachings, Kata also emphasized the importance of practicing foot washing with vinegar with full awareness and presence of mind. Every drop of vinegar is an opportunity to be fully present in the here and now, he said firmly. So practice mindfulness during the ritual, observing the sensations, thoughts, and emotions that arise as you soak your feet in the vinegar. In this way, he continued, Foot washing becomes not only an act of purification, but an experience of profound connection with oneself and the surrounding world. Kata, during this lesson, was not limited to the theoretical aspects, but also suggested breathing and meditation exercises to be practiced during the ritual to promote greater awareness and mental tranquility. Remember that through regular practice, added the monk with a smile, in addition to the tangible benefits for the body, such as cleansing, relaxation, and improved circulation, the very act of washing your feet represents a symbolic act of humility, purification, and rebirth. Feet are our connection to the earth, our point of contact with the outside world. Cleaning and caring for them is a way to honor our relationship with nature and with ourselves. And vinegar, with its ability to dissolve impurities and renew the spirit, becomes a precious companion on this journey of personal and spiritual growth. I therefore invite you to carry out this ancient ritual with awareness and gratitude, always remembering its deepest meaning. How many times have you heard that in life we must learn to forgive? And how many times have you tried to do it without success? And again, have you ever heard of why you should not forgive according to Buddha? We often hear that the practice of forgiveness serves to purify us, to live at peace with ourselves, and to embark on a true spiritual path. Thanks to the Zen story that you will hear shortly, you will learn the true vision of forgiveness in Buddhist culture. So stay until the end, because what you will hear will disrupt the idea of forgiveness that you have always had, and this will help you a lot in human relationships and in your personal growth. But before continuing, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share the video. These small gestures cost you nothing, but they will help us produce new content every day for your spiritual growth. In an ancient monastery located among the mountains of India lived an old and wise monk named Kuman, known for his deep knowledge of the Buddhist path. His clothes were sober, but his eyes reflected the clarity of someone who had traveled a long spiritual journey. One day, a man approached the monk with an invisible burden in his heart. "Master Kuman," he said with a trembling voice, "how can I learn to truly forgive according to the Buddhist path?" Kuman, with his usual kindness, invited the man to sit down and began to tell him a story that would illuminate the path to understanding forgiveness. Once upon a time, Kuman began there were two disciples of Buddha. They were the sons of a respectable East Indian merchant, a man dedicated to his work and determined to ensure the prosperity of his family. This merchant, one day, noticed that his children spent more hours a day at the feet of Buddha instead of dedicating themselves to the family business. His concern grew like a shadow on his face as he saw his heirs abandon the path of commerce to follow in the footsteps of a man who spent his time sitting with his eyes closed. This father, Kuman continued, thought that his sons were neglecting the work and prosperity of their family, and his concern turned to anger as he contemplated the way the Buddha affected the lives of his descendants. One day, determined to put an end to this situation, the merchant decided to confront the Buddha directly. He went to the place where the Buddha was teaching, and when he saw him sitting with his eyes half closed and a serene smile, his anger broke out. This man, Kuman said, felt betrayed. He felt that Buddha was stealing his children's future. The merchant, full of anger and despair, had planned how he would humiliate the Buddha in front of all his disciples. He wanted to spit on him and hold him down for the damage he was doing to his family. But when he came in front of the Buddha and saw his peaceful face, something changed within him. The atmosphere around the Buddha was so permeated with calm and serenity that the man momentarily forgot his vengeful intentions. However, his pride could not accept this climate of extreme peace. Then, strengthened by his determination, He spat in the Buddha's face. The Buddha's disciples rose to defend him, but the Buddha remained unperturbed, with a calm gaze and a persistent smile. Cumin described the atmosphere that followed as if a wave of calm had enveloped the place. The Buddha, he said, did not react with anger. He sat with his eyes half closed, accepting the apparently offensive act with his heart open. The merchant, seeing the Buddha's reaction, realized the helplessness of his actions, and the anger he had harbored turned into remorse. All the accusations and insults he had prepared came to mind, but in front of that peaceful presence, everything seemed insignificant. The Buddha did not condemn the man. He did not humiliate him. Instead, he offered him compassion and peace. Cumin continued. At this point, the monk interrupted the narration to highlight a crucial lesson. Dear friend, forgiveness is like that piece of the Buddha. It is not something we do concretely. It is not simply saying, I forgive you. It is something that happens when we are willing to let go of the past and see the being before us in a new light. The monk resumed the story and described how the man, touched by the Buddha's compassion, returned home. The images of the peaceful Buddha and his act of spitting in his face collided in his mind, he continued. That night, the man couldn't sleep. His mind was dominated by the image of the smiling Buddha and at the same time by the act of spitting that he had committed against her. The man, Cumin said, was at a crossroads between remorse for his past and the possibility of a different future. Cumin emphasized the importance of this pivotal moment in the story he was telling. That man, he said, was going through a process of deep introspection. He was trying to forgive himself, feeling guilty and ashamed for how he had behaved. The man, after days of internal torment, realized that his imagination was constantly constructing painful scenarios based on that past. Imagination, Cumin said, can be a powerful ally or a fierce enemy. In the wrong hands, it can create an endless cycle of anger and resentment. The man, over time, began to understand that the Buddha had not reacted to his actions with judgment, but with a very clear objective. So little by little he abandoned thoughts of revenge and began to sincerely ask for forgiveness. One day he returned to the feet of the Buddha. Cumin said, no longer in anger, but with genuine repentance. Forgive me, O great master, he pleaded. My ignorance has left me blind. I was just focused on my life and the prosperity of my family. The Buddha, with his eyes half opened and a smile of peace, listened to the man's words, but when he asked for forgiveness, he shook his head. I can't forgive you, he said kindly, because there is nothing to forgive. You have done nothing wrong to me. The man, surprised, asked the Buddha why he did not want to forgive him. Cumin explained that the Buddha had nothing to forgive, as he had accepted the man's act without judging him. It was as if the Buddha saw beyond the past and present, feeling the pure essence of that individual. This refusal to forgive, according to Cumin, taught man a valuable lesson. Forgiveness is not only an act of mercy towards others, but also an internal process of liberation. The Buddha taught, Cumin continued, that to forgive is to perform an act of compassion, both toward others and toward ourselves. The man, impressed by the Buddha's wisdom, began to reflect deeply on the meaning of forgiveness, and the idea that forgiveness was not something that could be given or received, but rather an internal experience of liberation, impacted him. The story continued with the merchant who, inspired by Buddha, decided to embark on a path of self-forgiveness. As time went by, he learned to let go of the guilt and shame that had tormented him. The practice of meditation became his refuge, where he learned to observe each moment without letting himself be dominated by the memory of the past or by worries about the future. Dear friend, Cumin said, Turning to the man who was listening intently, forgiveness is not just a gesture we make toward others, but an act of kindness that extends toward ourselves as well. When we learn to see each moment with new eyes, overcoming painful memories and letting go of our destructive imagination, we can find inner peace. The story continued with the merchant who, inspired by spiritual practice, eventually healed the wounds of the past and approached the Buddha to thank him. And the Buddha, with his compassionate smile, received him with joy. Kuman concluded the story by emphasizing that forgiveness, both toward others and toward oneself, is a complex and profound process. On our spiritual journey, he said, forgiveness guides us to a higher level of consciousness and compassion. It is a gift we can offer ourselves and others, freeing ourselves from the chains of the past and opening the doors to a bright future. But what is the moral of this story? And what does it teach us? The moral that emerges is clear. Forgiveness, in the Buddhist view, is not an act as an end in itself. It is not something we can give or receive, but is a gift of compassion that can be extended to oneself and others. In this approach, forgiveness becomes a means of making those who have made a mistake understand the extent of their actions. The compassion and kindness with which we offer forgiveness practically and indirectly become tools to open the eyes of those who have made the mistake, leading them to a deeper awareness. Because whoever commits an evil act towards someone actually commits it against himself, since karma will cause the effects to fall on him like a boomerang. So, in the end, he will have to forgive himself. Remember, forgiveness is not just a personal liberation, but a process that can lead to the transformation of others. Opening yourself to the kind of forgiveness we talk about is a way to promote awareness and growth, creating a bridge to a future of understanding and serenity. Is there a way to cure all diseases in the body? Or rather, is there a way to make our mind heal our body? If we look at nature, we realize that it exists. Let's think about the wild animals that, without having any veterinarian at their disposal, find a way to cure themselves and continue their journey. In this video, thanks to Master Kato's Zen story, we will see how to cure ourselves of all diseases thanks to the strength of our mind. Therefore, I recommend that you stay until the end because you will have in your hands fundamental ideas for your personal growth and your self-healing journey. In the heart of an ancient monastery, where incense danced in the air and light filtered through ancient windows, the ancient and wise Master Kato was about to begin a lecture on the art of healing oneself. The numerous people who came to learn from his profound wisdom, as soon as he entered the room, prepared to listen to him in respectful silence. I wonder, Master Kato began in a sweeping voice, if a person can really cure himself of an illness? The air seemed to vibrate as those present waited for the answer to a vital question. You would think that if it were possible, hospitals would close and doctors would be out of work. To answer this question, displaying great narrative mastery, Kato presented the story of Hana, a young woman in fragile health, but with a brave heart, who months before had gone to the monastery to talk to him. "Are you confident that you can cure your illness?" Master Kato asked, turning to Hana. The silence that followed seemed like a pause before the roar of thunder. "Believing in yourself is the key," the master continued. "Some people don't believe their bodies can heal, so they never learn to treat themselves without relying on medications or doctors." Kaito, as everyone was captivated by his words, drew a fascinating scenario describing Hana's journey towards introspection that allowed her to get closer to self-healing. The first step is to understand the signals of your body. You must become sensitive, listen to the melody of your senses, become aware of yourself. And meditation is the path that will take you to this consciousness. Only then will you be able to identify what your body is missing, understand the melody of the disease, and therefore how to overcome it. The story continued with Master Kaido revealing exciting details of starry nights where Hana, with her wisdom, learned to calm her mind before sleeping. The subconscious mind has the power to heal, Kaido explained in a confident tone. When you close your eyes before going to sleep, be aware that your illness is healing little by little, like a garden that blooms in the silence of the night. Those present immersed themselves in the stories of the master, who asked them to imagine the healing of their illnesses as a journey. The mind will attract what it has seen during the journey, and the body, like a faithful companion, will follow the order that the mind produces. This is the key to healing through self-image. So based on Kaido's story and Hana's example, how can we heal ourselves through the mind? First, through meditation and self-reflection, two practices that allow us to calm down and listen to what is wrong. Then, through the practice of visualization. In essence, imagine ourselves already cured. Imagine the disease dissolving like snow under the sun. Because the mind works like this. If we imagine something and turn it into a vivid and real image before our eyes, the brain begins to reason as if that result had already been achieved. Therefore, if we imagine ourselves cured with conviction, we will have a much better chance of eliminating the disease from our body. The story continued to intertwine, like branches of a tree that come together to strengthen it and make it invincible to the elements. Master Kaido spoke of another disciple. He also adopted the practice of self-image and learned to visualize his healing through the power of the mind. The disciple, thanks to Kaido, learned to embrace self-love. When we face illnesses or problems, said the master, we often begin to curse ourselves. Instead, we must love ourselves even when we are sick. Whoever loves himself cures his own illnesses. The story was like a painting that came to life, with splashes of color that moved those present. Master Kaido spoke of quiet nights in which the disciple learned to calm his mind and visualize his healing. After 30 days, Kaido continued, the change was evident. The disease was losing strength, like the fog that dissolves at dawn. And do you know why? Because when you cultivate specific thoughts and actions for 30 consecutive days, they become habits that you can no longer do without. And these trigger an irreversible process in the mind and body. Simply put, they trigger a self-healing process. Master Kaido concluded with a unique perspective on healing. The main point is that we must trust ourselves. Before seeking outside help, we must try to heal ourselves. Only when we feel we cannot do it, when our faith is tested, do we seek medical help. The story was like a symphony reaching its maximum power, and while everyone was moved, the maestro added, give yourself a gift, believe in yourself, follow the process that I have explained to you. After 30 days, search within yourself and listen to the change, the evolution of your being. Healing is possible, not only in the body, but also in the soul. As the day drew to a close, Master Kaido looked at the group gathered before him and said, now, go and experiment. Each of your healing stories are unique. And remember, every night before going to sleep, let your mind immerse yourself in the certainty that each breath brings you closer to your recovery. Be the artists of your own well-being, with trust as your guide and love as your strength. May your path be illuminated by the light of inner healing. With these words, the master slowly stood up, following the path towards the light that filtered through the windows, leaving his audience immersed in reflections and powerful emotions. In conclusion, what does the story of Master Kaido teach us? That healing is an inner journey and that we should not be afraid to start it. That our faith should be a lighthouse and self-love, the key. And that through practices like meditation, self-reflection, and visualization, we can truly heal ourselves. Without forgetting, however, that to achieve this, we must be willing to delve deeper into these issues and work on them with commitment and perseverance. Better yet, having the support of experts who can guide us on this path, teaching us step by step how to do it. Have you ever heard of the ritual of putting a glass of water under the bed before sleeping? If you often feel tired and depressed, if you have found yourself struggling with anxiety and a lack of inner peace, you should know that this ritual can help you change things. But what are its secrets? How can a simple glass of water change our mood and bring us towards greater mental balance? You will understand this thanks to the Zen story you will hear shortly. So stay until the end, because we will explain exactly the procedure to follow. By doing so, this ancient practice will allow you to find serenity and bring order to the frenzy of life. In the quiet cloister of an ancient Buddhist temple, nestled between the mountains and forests of a remote Japanese region, Master Ryo gathered his devoted disciples around him. His face, marked by the wrinkles of time, exuded wisdom and compassion. With a calm wave of his hand, he invited everyone to sit in a circle, while the twilight dyed the sky in shades of orange and pink. Today, I will tell you about an ancient practice passed down by generations of wise monks and healers. Master Ryo began in a calm but incisive voice, capturing the attention of the people present. It is the ritual of the glass of water under the bed, a simple gesture but full of profound meanings on a spiritual level, a practice used for centuries to promote inner peace and tranquility during sleep. His disciples looked at him with eyes full of interest, eager to learn the secrets of this mysterious practice and try it on themselves. The history of this ancient practice dates back to distant times. Master Ryo continued as the candles illuminated his face. It is said that in the remote lands of Ki province, there lived a young samurai named Haruki. Although he was gifted with great courage and skill in the arts of war, his heart was tormented by doubts and fears, like a rough sea in a storm. On a dark night, Haruki went to his village's Zen master, a wise man respected by all, seeking answers to his inner torment. The monk continued. "Master," Haruki said with a trembling voice, "how can I find the peace I long for in my heart?" The Zen master handed him a glass of water and said, "Take this glass and place it under your bed before you sleep. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, look at it carefully and come to me." Haruki followed his master's advice, and the following morning went to him with trembling curiosity. "What did you see, Haruki?" asked the master. "The glass was full of water," replied the young samurai. "And now, pour the water into this cup," ordered the master. Haruki obeyed, and as the water flowed, the master asked, "What do you see now?" "The glass is empty," Haruki replied, amazed. The master smiled sagely and said, "Just like water in the glass, your mind can be agitated by thoughts and worries. But just as water can be poured and the cup can be cleaned, so your mind can be purified by inner stillness." The disciples listened enraptured to the master's words, captured by the depth of his teaching. This ancient ritual, explained Master Ryo, has been passed down by generations of sages who recognized its effectiveness in bringing balance and serenity to the mind and spirit. It is said that a glass of water under the bed can absorb negative energies while we sleep, added the master, while his disciples' gazes lit up with curiosity. In the morning, if the water has bubbles or is cloudy, it means that it has worked its magic, absorbing the dark energies that surround us. The disciples nodded with understanding, fascinated by the hidden power of this age-old practice. But it's not just a question of negative energies, the master continued, raising a finger as if to underline an important point. The ritual of the glass of water under the bed is a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace and combating anxiety and depression. When we observe the water in the glass before sleeping, explained the master, we focus on its calm and clarity, letting our mind free from the worries and tensions of the day. And with every breath we take, we imagine the water absorbing all our anxieties and fears, leaving us in a state of stillness and tranquility. Therefore, as you may have understood, we are talking about a path of meditation. The disciples nodded gratefully, internalizing the Master's words and meditating on the transformative power of the ritual of the glass of water under the bed. But water is also an element of connection and purification, continued the Master, whose face radiated calm and wisdom. Through this ritual, we get closer to the very nature of the universe, reconnecting with its primordial energies and rediscovering our true essence. The disciples listened enraptured, captured by the Master's words and the intrinsic beauty of this age-old practice. They essentially understood that a profound symbolism was hidden behind this practice. Remember, Master Rio continued in a calm but firm voice, that true wisdom lies in humility and perseverance, in the constant journey towards self-knowledge and compassion towards others. The disciples looked into each other's eyes, illuminated by the light of understanding and awareness. At that moment, in the quiet cloister of the Buddhist temple, it seemed as if time had stopped. And the ancient wisdom of Master Reo continued to resonate in the hearts and minds of his devoted followers who, thanks to his teachings, found many ideas to live peacefully and undertake their spiritual journey. But what is the lesson we can learn from Master Rio's teachings? That the act of placing a glass of water under the bed before sleeping is not simply a ritual for its own sake. Carrying out this practice with faith, awareness, and conviction means having in your hands a very powerful tool to find inner peace, emotional balance, and fight anxiety and depression, added the monk. Remember, my dears, that even the smallest actions can have a profound impact on our mind and spirit, and for this reason we must not underestimate them, but cultivate them with perseverance. Each night, when we place that glass of water under the bed, we are symbolically letting go of our worries and tensions, allowing calm and serenity to flow into our lives. Master Rio, what is the precise way in which we must carry out this ritual? Asked one of the disciples. To practically implement this ritual, just follow a few simple steps, replied the monk. First of all, take a glass of water and fill it about 3/4 full. Then place it under your bed, on the right side of your body. Before falling asleep, observe the water for a few minutes, focusing on its calmness and clarity. Breathe deeply and imagine the water absorbing all your worries and tensions. In this way, all the negative energies that condition our existence for the worse are eliminated overnight. In the morning, as soon as you wake up, check the water. If it is cloudy, unclear, or has bubbles, it means that the negative forces have ended up in the glass, and that the water has absorbed these energies for us. At this point, the container should be emptied, even if the liquid has not changed color and has no bubbles, and the water thrown away. Then the following night we start again with this practice, which should ensure peaceful sleep and dreams. When you notice that the water remains clear, that it has no bubbles and is no longer cloudy, it will mean that you have achieved the emotional balance and inner peace you desire. Have you ever heard of the meaning of the number 888 and its spiritual importance? For many, it is an angelic number, a portal to luck and prosperity. The certain thing is that for all religions, this number has links with spirituality and with the divine that is in each of us. And it is said that if you write the number 888 on a sheet of paper and put it under your pillow, you can transform your life. By doing so, in fact, you will be able to attract prosperity, serenity, and inner peace. But how are things really? Make yourself comfortable and stay until the end of the video, because at the end of this Zen story you will find an answer to this fascinating mystery. And also, you will learn about the power of the number 888 and how to use it to attract what you want into your life. The sun sank lazily on the horizon, painting the sky with fiery shades that danced on the rocks like tongues of fire. The elderly and wise monk Kato is about to reveal something unique to his disciples. Around the crackling fire, Kaido's disciples anxiously awaited the words of the Buddhist monk. They knew that, once again, their mentor would amaze them with extraordinary revelations. Kaido, with his calm and persuasive voice, began to narrate an ancient story, one of those capable of opening the mind and leaving a profound mark in the hearts of each of them. In the mists of time began the monk. A mystical number emerged from the depths of the universe, 888. Since then, its energy permeates creation, bringing abundance, prosperity, and balance. Like a rushing river that fuels life, this number brings with it the promise of a bright future, a future full of joy and fulfillment. The monk bent down, picking up a small sheet of snow-white paper. With precise and delicate gestures, he traced the number 888 in golden ink. His calligraphy, as fluid as a mountain waterfall pouring down the valley, seemed to leave a mark in the minds of the disciples. This symbol, he explained in a soft voice, contains an ancestral force capable of attracting positivity into your life like a magnet attracts iron. Think of this number as a talisman that brings good luck, a bridge that connects heaven and earth, a portal that will lead you to a world of wonders. The disciples listened in silence, enraptured by the Master's words. Their eyes shone with curiosity and hope, like stars lighting up in the night sky. 888 is more than just a number, Kato continued, his voice vibrant with wisdom. It is a key that opens the door to the unlimited potential of the universe. And consequently, if we know how to interpret certain messages well, to the unlimited potential that lies within each of us. Like a magical portal leading to a world of wonders, this number will allow you to access an infinite reserve of energy and wisdom, an inexhaustible source of inspiration and inner strength. One of the younger disciples, eager to know more, asked, "Master Kato, how can this number open the doors of prosperity and inner peace for us?" The monk, looking at everyone with a broad smile, invited them to write the number 888 on a sheet of white paper, using golden or red ink, symbols of prosperity and luck. The sheet then had to be placed under the pillow before going to bed, like a hidden treasure waiting to be revealed. While you sleep, Kaito whispered in a firm voice, your mind will open like a flower in the sun, and the energy of 888 will flow through you, purifying your spirit and preparing you to receive new gifts from the universe. It will be like a rain of blessings falling on the thirsty earth. Dreams will transform into prophecies, intuitions into flashes of genius, and synchronicities into invisible guides that will lead you to your highest destiny. The disciples nodded, and with their hearts full of hope and the paper with the number 888 clutched in their hands, they headed towards their rooms. The ritual that Kato had spoken about had affected them deeply, and they couldn't wait to carry it out with all the trust and faith they were capable of. In the quiet of the night, the disciples retreated to their rooms, lulled by the singing of the nocturnal birds and the rustling of the leaves. The paper with the number 888 rested under their pillows, like a precious talisman that emanated a subtle and vibrant energy. And that night, a very strange thing happened. Everyone dreamed of something, and the dreams became vivid and colorful, full of symbols and mysterious messages to interpret and use as maps for one's happiness. Upon awakening, the disciples felt transformed, as if a cool breeze had swept away the clouds of their minds. A sense of renewed energy and profound inner peace pervaded their being, like a wave of positivity that enveloped and intoxicated them. Over the next few days, surprising events began to manifest in their lives. New opportunities knocked on their doors, like flowers blooming at dawn. Unexpected encounters illuminated their path, like lighthouses in the night indicating the route. Fortunate coincidences led them towards the realization of their dearest dreams, like shooting stars that grant wishes. The disciples, amazed and happy at these events and this transformation, went to Kaido to thank him and to ask to know more about the number 888. The wise monk, with a benevolent smile, invited them to sit around the fire, which crackled brightly like a beating heart that united them under the same roof. 888 is an angelic number, Kaido explained, his voice vibrant with wisdom. It is a message sent by our spiritual guardians, a precious gift that infuses our lives with hope, love, and protection. Like a lighthouse in the night, this number guides us towards our highest destiny, illuminating the path ahead with its golden light. In Buddhism, the number 8 represents the Eightfold Path, or the path that leads to enlightenment. And the 888 is seen as a symbol of spiritual perfection and awakening, a symbol to be respected, and thanks to which one can find one's path in life. Master Kaido asked the disciple, "Is it true that this number is also important for other religions?" The monk, smiling, replied that in the Christian tradition, the number 888 is associated with Jesus Christ, because in Greek, the name of Jesus has this same numerical value. And for this reason, it is seen as a symbol of redemption, salvation, and eternal life. Kaido told stories of angels and spiritual guides who, through this issue, had offered their help to people in difficulty. He talked about how this number was often present in prophetic dreams, sudden intuitions, and surprising synchronicities, like an invisible thread that weaves the fabric of our destiny. The 888 is a symbol of balance and harmony, continued Kaido. Like a bridge that connects heaven and earth, this number helps us find the right balance between our spiritual aspirations and our material needs. It is an invitation to live a life full of meaning, in which external prosperity is accompanied by internal growth, giving us emotional balance and mental well-being. While the disciples listened with great interest, and their hearts were grateful to their mentor for the wisdom he imparted to them, the monk taught them how to meditate on the number 888. Thinking about this number, my dears, visualize how a golden light flows through your body and purifies your soul. And pay attention to the signs and synchronicities that manifest themselves in your life, recognizing them as messages from the universe that guide you towards your destiny. The disciples, with hearts full of gratitude, from that day continued to constantly practice the ritual of the number 888 and meditate on it. Their life turned into a journey of discovery and joy, where every day was a new chapter in a wonderful story. The numbers danced before their eyes, like notes of celestial music that invited them to follow the rhythm of the universe. And their lives, despite the challenges and tests to which they were subjected, continued in the name of trust, faith, and perseverance. Challenges are like stones that help us build the path of our life, Kaido had told him during his lessons. Do not be afraid of falling, because it is only by falling that you learn to get up. The 888 is with you. You just need to open your heart to feel its energy. The most difficult test was for Akiko, a young disciple with a pure heart and a kind soul. A sudden fire destroyed her house, leaving her with nothing. Akiko was disheartened and cried desperately, believing that the universe had abandoned her to her fate. Kaido took her hand and led her to the top of a hill overlooking the valley. The sun was rising, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. "Look," he said, pointing to the breathtaking view. "The universe has not abandoned you. It has given you this test to make you emerge like a phoenix from the ashes. Remember that the 888 is with you. Have faith, and your inner strength will guide you despite adversity." Akiko watched the sun rise and felt a new strength rising within her. The monk's words gave her the hope and determination to rebuild her life. With the help of his fellow disciples and the community, he built a new house, more beautiful and more resistant than the previous one. After overcoming various tests and challenges, the disciples felt transformed. They had acquired a new awareness of themselves and their place in the world. One day, Kaito gathered them together again and asked them, "What have you learned from all this?" The disciples, moved and aware, recounted their experiences. They had learned that true wealth is not in material things, but in inner strength, love, and compassion. And that the number 888 is not a magical lucky charm, but a symbol of their unlimited potential. And again, that the key to a happy and fulfilling life is to trust your intuition and live in harmony with yourself and the universe. Master Kaito looked at them with pride and greeted them with these words, "Now you are ready to spread your light in the world. Use your wisdom to help others and to create a better world."